are still live here on Change Our Minds, and I have one of Jody's favorite films as the topic, Gladiator. Just came out in the 4K. Did you get the 4K version yet, Jody?
I got it.
Good.
Yeah, it comes out next Tuesday.
Good. And did you get to watch it yet? Did it look good?
No, it came out today. I did watch it, and it did look good. It's
cool.
still an old movie. It looks like one of those old movies that got redone. It doesn't look like a brand new 2020 4K.
That's the reality, right? With some of the old movies on 4K.
That's the reality of it. Just some of those old ones.
Especially if
only so nice.
If there's like early CGI in it, it usually doesn't hold up. That's probably like the Tiger and stuff probably don't hold up as well.
But Gladiator does. It looks good though. Looks good.
Okay, interesting. Well, because that 4K is out and people are talking about its anniversary, this is now the third. What is it? 20 years, right? 2000.
20-year anniversary.
It came
and
out in
25th
2000.
of Braveheart. Yeah.
So it's a big anniversary for Gladiator. Ridley Scott is back in the news because they're saying that they are still working on the Gladiator 2 sequel. But obviously the biggest challenge being, spoiler alert, that he's dead. But that hasn't stopped them from still continuing. Apparently, rumor is Ridley Scott is still trying to write a way to keep this going. Ridley would love to do it. Everyone involved in the original loves the movie too much to even consider cheaply exploiting it. It's just a really clear creative problem working on a script. Ridley's working on it. It's really just a question of whether we can get it to a place where it feels worthy to make it. Of course, the leading man is dead. Jody, this brings the question of a lot of people. There is actually a version of the script. I don't know if you remember looking at it, but I think was it Nick Cave wrote like a crazy one in hell. Did you hear about that crazy version?
No.
I'm gonna find out why. But what did you think? What do you think of this idea of them trying to bring this back? There's rumors it's gonna be the son later. As a diehard Gladiator fan, I want to get your thoughts first, and I'll share mine. What do you think?
I think that I'm thinking about Star Wars right now as you're speaking and saying all that. I'm thinking about Star Wars, and more specifically, Billy D. Williams. How he returned to the role after so many years to be Billy D, as Lando Calrissian,
Yep.
And I remember him saying, "I identify as a her or a she, but not really in ethics. He or a her. I identify as herself nor himself." Only to make the world go on fire like Billy D. What the freak you talking about, bruh? And then a week later he says, well, what I meant was none of that made sense. So I'm really the old me after all. And then I was like, okay, this motherfucker is senile and he's losing. Sit down, Billy. Ridley Scott, same syndrome, Alzheimer's. Sit down, Ridley. Ridley Scott is washed. He ain't making. He ruined Alien franchise. Prometheus 2. The last good film that was decent, but not because of him. The Martian. Ridley Scott is over the hill, just like Spike Lee, over the hill. They were good in their day. They had creative thoughts and visions of the society that they lived in 20 years ago. But now that the movement has changed and film is a little bit different, they cannot adapt and blend to the times. Spike Lee, Ridley Scott, Billy D. Williams, and others. I got my eye on James Cameron. That jury is still out. They all need to sit the freak down because they're old and they're over the hill and they're washed. Oh, by the way, put Steven Spielberg in that category too.
Wow.
This is a stupid idea.
Well, I don't disagree with you. This is not a fight for me. But what I was trying to find as you were talking was the pitch for Gladiator. There was a pitch for Gladiator 2 from musician Nick Cave. At first, this is Russell Crowe saying, at first I was very cynical about a notion of a Gladiator sequel, but I've come around on it. We've had other ideas too, where we step off into this metaphysical and you actually acknowledge the fact that Maximus is dead. But that is a hard script to write. Nick Cave actually wrote a draft for me and Ridley at one point. He's an excellent writer, and Nick did the draft. We considered it for a while. So here's how it would start. You ready? This is a script that details him dead. Exterior, dark wilderness. A storm rages. We follow two thieves as they stumble across the body of a gladiator lying in in the mud. They strip it of its armor and weaponry. One of the men suddenly goes silent. A large spear is embedded in his spine, and the other man flees. He turns to see the dead gladiator rising. It's Maximus, gasping for air, frantic, disoriented. A middle-aged man steps out of the shadows to assist. He introduces himself as Mordecai. He says that he's been waiting for Maximus to arrive since watching him die in the Colosseum. Maximus says that he has no time for riddles. Mordecai responds that he has all of eternity. Cut to Maximus makes his way through a wheat field. His wife and son stand beneath a giant pulper. In the distance, a storm hits, heavy rain obscuring his vision. A fantastic bolt of lightning strikes the poplar. He violently awakens. Mordecai approaches and explains that there is something he needs to show him. As they walk, Maximus stresses that he must locate his family. Mordecai tells him that there are those who search and that those have given up the search. Over eternity, the former eventually becomes the latter. They approach the edge of a cliff. Beneath them is a valley. In the valley is an encampment bordering a pitch-black sea filled with the infinite numbers of the damned, stretching endlessly to eternity. They descend. So anyway, this whole, it goes and goes and goes and goes. I was going to read more of it, but it goes crazy. But basically, the sequel is dead Maximus in the afterlife trying to fight back to get back to find the spirit of his wife and child. And apparently it gets friggin' bonkers. All sorts of crazy stuff happenings. He's not a gladiator, he's an emperor. Laments his lightning-struck giraffe. It's a bunch of weird stuff that happens in this movie, and apparently it was just wild, and they actually considered it. You guys can go. I might do a video more detailing what this actually was about because it's fascinating. But is there some crazy version like that might actually appeal to you? Or like, all right, well, at least they're going to take a shot with it. At least they're trying to do something different, right? Could that even be? I don't know. If I'm gonna see it, I would rather them go out of left field with some crazy bonkers idea with Maximus in hell trying to break his way back, and the arena never ends. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm gonna see it, I would rather see that than like his son growing up and following in his father's footsteps. That sounds so friggin' boring.
Bro, absolutely not. You're going to ruin the first version. Why would you do that? It's like making a Braveheart 2. Excuse me. Freak no. William Wallace is that dude. Maximus is the dude. They're dead. And then they describe this, their description of hell or the afterlife seems like a battlefield. It's raining. It looks like it could be Earth. It's not a fiery hell-looking place. It could be mistaken for Earth. So by the sound of the way you read it off, it's going to look like it's a dark Earth. And so we could kind of feel like he's still there in the gladiator type. That is so stupid. He's a dead man, and I don't give a freak about that journey after that. You died. And he died whack. I'll admit. I don't like the way that played out. But that story has been told. You're only as good as your story. Let's not get this twisted. Maximus, you're that dude. You're only that dude because of your story. Your story has been told. You are no longer that dude. Your story's done. We're finished. I don't want to see William Wallace return to try to fight off the English. No, his passion was for Merlin. They killed and murdered his wife. He fought for his Scotsmen, and they won their freedom. Story has been told. William, goodbye. It's crazy to me.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, it's super crazy. Apparently, he's offered Jupiter, the god, gives him a chance that if he goes and murders someone, he'll get the chance to see. Offers him if he kills hepatitis
with that toothbrush.
He will be reunited with his wife and son in the golden wheat fields of the Azilium. It may sound like the premise of a Terry Gilliam film, but so he goes. The adventure makes sense all through. Gladiator longs to see his family, so there's a certain logic to the plot, which keeps him longing even more to continue to see his family. But then suddenly it isn't. No sooner Maximus has tracked down Hephaestus that he is zapped out of the Stygian gloom and into a world of flesh and blood. A decade or two after his death, human again, he travels to Rome in search of his son Marcius. Marcius, who was crucified and burnt in the death of Gladiator, is now alive and kicking Gladiator 2. At this stage, the script focuses on a band of early Christians dodging the Roman authorities, just as they did in the recent Mary Magdalene biopic, who starred Phoenix, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so apparently it continues. So everything leads to a showdown between Lucius's Roman enforcers and the Christian resistance army, which Maximus and Juba have been training in secret. And then what? They then, this is the part I was trying to get to. Maximus strides into battle through centuries, in the Crusades, in the World Wars, in Vietnam, and finally in the Pentagon. In a grander version of the opening of X-Men Origins, the message is clear that by choosing armed combat over nonviolent resistance, Maximus has condemned humanity to an eternal cycle of bloodshed, which is thought-provoking conclusion, but maybe not a crowd-pleasing one. Crow's reaction, according to Cave, simply was like, "Don't like it, mate."
Don't like it, mate. This is trash, man. Bro, even if they did, even if they did try to do this, you know what that's gonna be like? Bringing in Russell Crowe. He's meaty right now, bro.
Yeah,
I see the picture of Russ. Bro, Russ been eating them sauerkraut, bro. Russ been eating good wherever he doing, bro.
He has been on lockdown, enjoying life. Exactly.
Russ has always had he's always been a thick dude, you know. He's always had a little stockiness to him, but you can always tell by looking at somebody like their weight's about to spiral out of control at any minute. And Russell's that type of dude, and he's meaty. I mean, he like if you poke him with a needle, he'll pop. So
it's true. He's very round. He's rotund, old now, man. Round right now. I agree. No, it wasn't Wolverine. It was I saw it was the version of Origins where they sort of show Wolverine through history, that they were going through sort of a more serious version of that, which was an interesting take. Anyway, the moral of the story, I think, is we're both agreeing there's not really a reason to make this movie.
They need to send him to old folks' home, bro.
Yeah, it's true. You can't have Russell Crowe back. He's dead and he's too old now. And no body shaming, but he's not in Maximus shape anymore.
He's fat. It's like me.
Yeah,
not like me. He's less fat than me, but
and look. The version Nick Cave wrote sounds intriguing, and I would love to watch it and laugh or be intrigued. But I don't want to see his son growing up trying to figure that out. That sounds, or not the son. The son's dead. Who's the son that's alive? How am I forgetting? What's his name?
The girl's little boy.
Yes.
The princess chick's little boy. Yeah,
I don't want to see that version. I don't care about that version either.
Yeah.
There's not a version of this that I need. The time has passed. If they had figured out a way, like within 3 years of the movie, and they were going to really do it with Russell Crowe and some crazy version, maybe. But I feel like the time has passed. Move on. I'm trying to see even the commenters. What do you guys think? Troy sequel. Best part of Troy was Achilles and he died. Yeah, Troy. Did you like Troy? I didn't like it as much. Sort of failed.
It was okay. It was.
Yeah, Troy sequel would be based on that. I mean, look, why don't they just make an Odyssey movie? That would be cool. Do like Ridley
Scott. How did you feel about Troy?
It had some cool sequences, but it didn't stay with me like Gladiator.
There was something missing from it.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was very fine. It just wasn't like it wasn't Gladiator. Both Braveheart and Gladiator stuck. Gladiator really stuck with me. I like Gladiator better than Braveheart, but I understand. I like and respect Braveheart too. But Gladiator just had something about like, oh man, it was a revenge story, and you're feeling for it, and some great sequences. And I think I
don't feel like he got that revenge. That's why I have a disdain for it at times.
Interesting.
He did not get the revenge he deserved, bro. Like when, bro, why you had a fight with this man in the middle of the Coliseum, and he still managed to poison and kill you? Like the reveal where he revealed his helmet, and it looked, and maybe this is on the fault of the script, or maybe it's on the fault of Joaquin Phoenix, but he didn't have that moment of it's you. It was like the moment of like he always knew it was him, or he didn't know it was him even after he revealed himself to me. I feel like Ridley Scott should have did that take all over again and give us when he reveals that helmet and says, "I am Maximus, son of this," and I have had my pen, and then Joaquin Phoenix like, and he's just shocked, like, oh my God, that was missing, and I feel like I didn't get into that feel, and I think that they just ruined that ending, in my opinion.
Look, I gotta be honest. I gotta watch it again. That's a fair note, I'm sure. I gotta look into it again. But I'm gonna watch it.
It didn't hit as hard at the end.
I'm gonna watch it again at some point. I want to do for the new channel and videos I'm doing, sort of breaking movies down. I'll keep that in mind when I watch it. That could be a fair note. I see some people. I've been starting to look at the comments and they're agreeing. That's it. And someone just dropped Last Mohicans. That is another good one, underrated. Have you ever watched that?
Oh one? Yeah, I did. That's a good movie.
That was a good Daniel Day-Lewis.
A lot of heart.
Great score in that one too. But yeah, that's another one if you haven't watched it. And The Mission. Did you ever watch that one with De Niro?
No.
It's not really action, but it's still a similar, closer to Last Mohicans. That's another great one. Well, there you go.
De Niro? What is he playing?
We're going to talk about this
do-gooder?
live here on the chat. If you aren't watching, you should always be watching us live. But that's our thoughts on Gladiator. That's what could have been. What do you guys think of Nick Cave's Gladiator script there? Sounds crazy, huh? Do you want to see a Gladiator 2? Tell me down in the comments below. Join us always live on Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Thanks so much for watching. Check out Jody's Corner as well. He's over there. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay here live, everybody. But people watching later, you missed out.